the ways I fucked up in my series from a few weeks ago was not being clear on what perspective I was speaking from. I jumbled several things up. This is something I struggle with. Everything makes sense in my head, but it doesn't always come out correctly. I've also been trying to keep videos to under a minute, but with subjects as complex as these, it can cause more harm than good. So, using the appropriate amount of words, let's talk about the main spiritual frameworks I address on this channel. Historically speaking, we know some things about some sacred stories that prove whether they're fact or fiction. However, something doesn't have to be historically true to be spiritually enlightening. The goddess I work most closely with, Hecate, has evolved throughout literature dating back to the 7th century BCE. How I see her now is different than how those in late Platonism saw her, yet I derive deep meaning from both my work with her, other devotees' work, and the sacred stories told about her in antiquity, which might all paint different pictures. There are indeed many different flavors of Christianity, but the one dominating public discourse and the American legal system right now is what my channel focuses on. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. The evangelical and white Christian nationalist worldviews include the idea that my goddess is a demon, that Adonai replaced the Jewish people with Christians as his chosen people, and that everyone who doesn't subscribe to their beliefs will be eternally punished. Everyone can believe what they want. I have some pretty unflattering opinions about Christians too, but the problem is, for example, a man I recently stitched who justified transphobic laws on the Ohio Congress floor by referencing Christianity. It's not fucking okay to oppress other people with your religious beliefs. It's not fucking okay to bring your hatred into a discussion that should be about living together in harmony, which is what a democratic government is supposed to be. If you want a theocracy instead of a democracy, you can go somewhere else, because that's not what we all agreed to. Gnosticism is a term that describes a diverse group of beliefs that were held by people termed heretical by the proto-Catholic Church. I see them as the spirit ancestors of the Christian deconstruction movement. They were the bookend over here, we're the bookend over here. Some of them held problematic anti-Semitic beliefs, but others wanted to decouple their spirituality, which they grounded in the mythos of Jesus, from Judaism. I agree with those ones. Some, like me, believed in pantheistic polytheism, specifically that Adonai was only one deity among many, rooted in pre-Judaic Canaanite polytheism. Gnostics were persecuted by the proto-Catholic Church, with them and their writings burned as heresy, and their teachings were lost until recently. Judaism differs from Christianity in that they believe following a moral code is more important than believing the correct thing. We ex-Christians were taught unflattering things about the Jewish worldview, but that was once again Christianity's attempt to control us through lies. Forget what you were taught. It was wrong. Super important point. I do not talk about Islam on my channel because I have no personal relationship to it. The implication that I should is usually thrown at me by Christians who are trying to stay in your lane, witch. Except, having been raised in a Christian household in the Bible Belt and watching the totalitarian laws being passed in the US, as the mother of 3 daughters, I can assure you I am staying in my own lane. Have an idea, but you stay in yours.